In order to diagnose someone as a narcissist or a sociopath or just an incredibly toxic person, whatever label you want, they need to demonstrate low empathy and the desire to exploit over an extended period of time in every facet of their life. That's how you diagnose someone. This two-step process that we can use to out nasty narcissists, it's really simple. Step one is the narcissist will label you and categorize you in a very derogatory way. And they share this information with you either directly or indirectly through other people. The second step is that they actively and with purpose instigate some sort of event that causes you harm. So step one, they label you, they categorize you, they gossip about you either to your face or indirectly. And step two is that they manufacture some sort of event to cause you harm. And that is the formula that the narcissist, the sociopath, and highly toxic people use to do the job of harming you. Today, I'm going to talk about how to differentiate between a jerk and a nasty narcissist, because there's a big difference. Most toxic people follow a very specific pattern when they are targeting you. And one way to out them, identify them, is to pay attention to this pattern. It's a two-step process. The first thing they do is they label you. They categorize you in a very derogatory way. It starts off as just some gossip about you. One way to differentiate between someone who's just a jerk and gossiping about you and someone who's a full-on toxic, narcissistic, sociopathic, nasty person is that they take it a step further. They don't stop at just a little gossip about you. They will gossip and then they follow it up with step two, which is they initiate some sort of interaction with you. And they use this interaction to manufacture a problem for you. Either an emotional upset, a financial upset, a physical upset, some sort of harm comes your way. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say Bob and Tina are working together in an office. Well, Tina will start gossiping about Bob, and she'll tell all the other coworkers, something's wrong with Bob. Bob's a weirdo. He dresses so badly, and he's never had a girlfriend, and he spends all of his time just in the corner reading books. He's such a weirdo. Well, Bob might hear about this gossip, and it will probably hurt his feelings. We could categorize Tina as just being a jerk, but one way to out her as a narcissist, one way to identify her as a narcissist, is that she takes it a step further. And what she'll do is she will gossip about Bob, but she'll follow that up with some sort of an event. And she will initiate the interaction, meaning that Bob is sitting alone, having lunch, minding his own business, and Tina will walk up to his lunch table and she will, out loud in front of everyone, start questioning him about his choices in fashion. Bob, why do you wear such weird clothing? She might ask in front of everyone. And she's doing this to embarrass him, to humiliate him. That is how you can identify a nasty narcissist. They don't just stop at gossip. They will take it a step further by manufacturing some sort of interaction that causes the target emotional, physical, or financial harm. Everyone can be a jerk every once in a while. Everyone puts their foot in their mouth. Everyone can say something hurtful to someone else. The difference with a nasty narcissist is that they do this over an extended period of time in every facet of their life. It doesn't come and go. It's always there. In my opinion, the fastest way, the easiest way to identify a nasty narcissist versus a jerk is that a nasty narcissist or a sociopath or just a highly toxic person, they will always have two constant, non-wavering traits. And those are low to zero empathy and the desire to exploit people, either physically, financially, or emotionally. These never waver. These two traits are with them throughout their entire life. It doesn't come and go. In contrast, you could have someone who's a jerk, which means that maybe at work, they do exploit people financially or emotionally. Let's say it's a job that they had for 2 years and they behaved very badly in this job, let's say. But before that, they never engaged in this behavior. And let's say after they leave this job, they discontinue that behavior. Well, that person technically is just a jerk. In the wrong situation, let's say, these negative traits can come out, but it's not really the person's core personality. And that's how you differentiate. A narcissist will, every job they have, they behave badly, and they behave badly in their personal life as well. So that's one way you can start to separate someone who's a jerk and someone who is pathologically mentally ill. If you're still unsure about whether or not someone that you work with or a family member or someone in your social circle, if you're still unsure if they are just a jerk or a nasty narcissist, someone who is truly pathologically mentally ill, one way you can start to figure it out is by writing down the timeline of events. Because when you do that, when you can pinpoint the beginning, it's always the same. You were the passive party. You were sitting back, minding your own business, not involving yourself in whatever the event is, whatever the event becomes. You're here, you are stationary, and it's always the predator. It's always the narcissist or the toxic person who initiates the interaction. The narcissist is the one who creates the drama. They create the interaction. The interaction never would have happened if the predator had not initiated. So think back and examine the beginning. That's one way you can help yourself figure out whether or not what happened to you was the result of just someone who was being a jerk at the time versus someone who actively wanted to harm you. Because there is a big difference. Intent matters. The context does matter. Because unfortunately, there are times when people behave badly, but it's not their core personality. It's not really who they are. It's for whatever reason they are engaging in negative behavior, but it's temporary. And they hopefully and usually learn from the mistake and they make improvements. A narcissist will not. They maintain this desire to harm people throughout their entire life. It never goes away. So I hope that helps. Always pay attention to the timeline of events and pinpoint who initiated the event, who created the event, and you'll be reminded that you were the passive party. And after the event happens, you do activate and you become part of the event, but you weren't the one who initiated it. You weren't the person who sparked its beginning. So now that you've identified that this person is a nasty narcissist or highly toxic, and you know for a fact that they are trying to harm you, well, the next question is, well, what should we do now? How do we stop it? Well, unfortunately, I have some bad news. There is no stopping a narcissist. They keep going. They don't stop. In fact, a lot of times when you do push back, it just makes them angrier and they double down on the abuse. That's why so many people are always saying, go no contact, quit your job, move out of the house, leave the country. Yeah, and people are saying that for a reason, because they're right. That is the best option. Unfortunately, not everyone can quit their job in that moment, or move out of their apartment in that moment, or quit their college class because their professor is a narcissist. A lot of people are stuck in situations temporarily, and I understand why they're asking, well, how do I counter manipulate in a situation like this? What do I do when my college professor is nuts and I just need to make it through the next 2 months and pass this class without upsetting this narcissistic professor? What do I do? A lot of times I recommend something called strategically losing, which means that you don't try to battle the narcissist. You don't try to out them. You don't let them know that you know what they're doing. You just play along, you play dumb, and you just nod your head like an idiot and go, okay, yep, I'm an idiot. Okay, keep talking. Yep. And you laugh at their jokes. Ha, oh, you're so funny, professor. Yeah, you just go along, you just adapt to your environment. You're not lowering your standards, you're just trying to survive. You're trying to make it through 8 weeks of coursework, and then you'll never have to see this nasty narcissist again. That's why I highly recommend that you step back before you decide how you want to handle a situation with a narcissist. You evaluate what's going on. You try to figure out, what is it that they want from me? A lot of narcissists just want to be admired. They want you to tell them how fabulous they are. And so let's say you have your narcissistic professor and you just, oh, I love your class. This is just the best class I've ever had. It's so wonderful. And a lot of times that is all you have to do. You play along. A lot of people are unable to do that because of our ego. And I know that my ego has gotten me in a lot of trouble with narcissists because I'm just thinking to myself, I'm not going to play along. I am going to call them out on their bad behavior. But most of the time when I've done that, it bites me in the butt. It has not worked out. And I regret doing that. I wish that I had parked my ego at the door and just gone along and smiled and said, you're so fabulous. Ha. Oh, your jokes are so funny. And gotten through the situation and then left. But there are other situations, like let's say it's a family. Let's say you have a cousin who is a crazy narcissist, and every time you see them at family get-togethers, they are being verbally and emotionally abusive with you. In a situation like that, you might want to stand your ground and call them out in front of everyone and say, hey, you're being verbally abusive. I'm not going to put up with it. You need to stop now. Sometimes being aggressive works out. Every situation is different. A lot of times, if I'm even asking myself, what should I do? I don't even know until I do it. And so a lot of figuring out how to weave in and out of the narcissist's delusions, it's trial and error. Let's say we have a family member and we just want them to leave us alone. Sometimes strategically losing is better in the long run. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes standing up to them works out. They don't want to waste their time dealing with a difficult target. A lot of narcissists just want easy targets, people who are quiet and people who strategically lose. It's different in every situation. These situations are not to be taken lightly. When we do decide to take action or not take action, I recommend putting some thought into it before you make a decision and assess the pros and cons of acting or not acting. As always, stay strong and get toxic people out of your life.